Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. How's it going?
You'd think after all this time we'd
I think the thing is we like to keep it kind of like
this is our norm. Let's just put it that way.
keep it in suspense. I think that's the thing.
Seriously though, man, but it's something different every time. So this one you go to pop out the chat window so that we can actually like hang out and chat with you, and it like went on a different screen and then was like halfway up so you couldn't even drag it.
No. So what it was is because typically I run it on Chrome, but Chrome like eats up your RAM so bad. So I'm trying to work it on Edge, and it just throws in a little variable. So, but we're here.
We're here.
So we got YouTube over here. We got the Instagram over here. Danny, Chad, Katie, Mark,
Brent.
Brent.
We've
Welcome.
I saw Reza over on.
Yeah, Reza was over here.
We got lots of Kristen. We got lots of people. Tyler. Welcome. We're actually doing a back-to-back live. So this week should have been
An episode.
Like a full-blown edited episode. We should not be sitting here right now.
Well,
However,
I mean, we can.
but we can do whatever we want. But you got a really cool. Technically, we both got a really cool opportunity. Yeah. You took it.
Yeah.
And you went to San Francisco to go to the. Please wrap your head around this for a second, because I think it was just so wild and like it happened pretty quickly.
I think that's the wild part of it is like it was a, hey, this is happening. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
And everybody had just come from Mosh.
Like literally, like I think like days after Mosh.
And so it was like, I can't. And you had just gotten off the cruise.
I was like, I will get fired from my day job if I take any more. I'm probably from this marriage if I like go off on an adventure again.
So I was like, I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute.
Bless you. 2, we haven't even said it yet, but I'm sure people, if you're tuning in, you probably already know at this point. You got to go to a premiere for a Star Wars show.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. No, it was
at Lucasfilm headquarters, no less.
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
So let's set the scene a little bit. And I'm not acting. I am genuinely excited for you. And I genuinely have so many questions for you because I picked you up. We got home from the airport last night at like 11 p.m. It's a school night. Like we went to bed very quickly there afterwards. And then I had to go into the office for I had to be in the office all day. And then I had like an event after work. So I was like,
so we haven't been able to chat.
We have not talked, really, because you were on a trip. You were living your best life. And then literally, like, I picked up dinner, got home. We watched all 3 episodes of Bad Batch because I was like, it's homework. It's work.
Yeah.
We have to work right now and watch Bad Batch. And then we had to do bath and bedtime and dishes and all the boring house stuff. And then here we are.
Yeah.
Like, we truly have not had a chance to, like, sit here and talk about your trip. And I'm so excited to ask you all of the questions.
Before we get into that, let's make sure we acknowledge everybody, because there's we got Rez over here talking about Chrome. Yes, it eats up the RAM.
Like a Rancor.
What, Mystic Pendragon, any idea when Hondo will open their Etsy store?
I have no idea.
Not sure.
Yeah, no clue.
So keep an eye out. Then over here,
on YouTube.
Like
you say over here, like people know.
Let me see. We got some questions. Dano was there with us, or did with me.
You got some good hang time with Dano.
Hung out with him.
Like an entire 24 hours.
Yeah, Chad, I think it's just one of those things of just kind of taking time for himself type of thing. Let me see. A bunch of hellos. Yes, Chad, we have the Rex helmet came in.
We had that out here last week too.
Yeah, that was like the day that I got it.
Yeah.
Katie, the Star Wars Holy Land. Yes, I got to take a picture with the Yoda fountain. We could get to that.
Spill the beans. Mark Hat is here.
Yes. Okay. So we're caught up on everybody.
We're good. So yeah, somebody said, can't believe the Thank the Maker boys didn't. None of them made it out. Literally, we got invited to go to this. it was probably within a week of getting back from
Mosh.
Mosh. Like it was like, okay, you want to go? It's in 2 weeks, or maybe not even.
Yeah.
And so, like, we all just got back from Mosh, and like this, we took like an extended. I think the rest of the Mosh crew kind of took an extended trip to go to MegaCon and do all that stuff. So it just like the schedules just didn't work out. But you and Dano did get to go. You had the
Yeah.
time to go, and so you got to go on a little adventure. And so we went. It's in San Francisco. You and I went to San Francisco. I want to say it was like our second anniversary, third anniversary. It was
Yeah, it's been
a long
quite some time.
ago. It was like a decade ago. And we did all the touristy stuff when we went then. We went. I don't even remember how many days we went, but we did like San Francisco and Alcatraz and Napa and winery tours and like all of the things. And you got to go, and you were there basically. You had to fly in a day early because of the like just the flights. So you flew in on Monday, and you showed up, and you were just like, "What do I?
Okay.
What do I do?"
Okay, so I think the thing is you also put that day ahead a little bit for me as well.
Absolutely.
Because I being thrown into a situation that's not my norm definitely makes me uncomfortable, because as I'm talking to other people that are going, they were driving up or they were flying in that day. And like right, hours before, and going straight to it, watching the episodes, and then driving back home.
Oof.
And,
Really? Like driving home right afterwards?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there was people like local, and then there was people like
Like
LA,
Southern California.
yeah, SoCal. So I was just like, oh man, like that is a journey.
Yeah.
The same day doing all that and then heading back home. But yes, I think you kind of baked in that extra day for me, and I think it was one of those things I needed. But it was like there was nobody there ahead of time that I knew, anybody that, there was none of that.
Right.
So it was like me on my complete own.
But you had been before. It had been a decade, but you had been before, so you were at least like somewhat familiar with the layout, right?
Somewhat.
Right.
Somewhat. And I think that's the thing, is typically I try to put myself in a situation that I'm somewhat aware of where I'm going, what I'm doing. I don't try to put myself in situations where I don't know anything, just because there's that bit of control that I need.
Right.
But it was one of those things. I was like, I have to do it, because if I don't, then I'm gonna regret it. I'm gonna regret not doing it.
It's like the year of yes.
Yeah. For me, it definitely is one of the year yes type of things. But yeah, I got out there pretty early, and it was one of those things. Okay, let me get the lay of the land, trying to figure out where the place is gonna be. Lucasfilm that, where the hotel is, in relation to eat and other activities and stuff like that. So it was really nice to be able to get in the day before.
That's good.
And it was like a walking distance to Lucasfilm, so I was able to figure out where it is and go find the Yoda fountain and take a picture.
Sounds like you had a good travel agent.
I did.
I think that, so yes, you were walking distance, but I think it ended up being a good hotel too, because it was actually like pretty decently priced for it being walking distance, because San Francisco has these like pockets of where you want to stay and where you don't want to stay. So hopefully, I mean, San Francisco is a walking city, like for sure. So you're going to have to walk one way or the other, but hopefully.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I was able to do that, and then that evening do Fisherman's Wharf. So that's kind of like
the first day,
real touristy area.
So here's where I got jealous. I did not realize that Hondo said that we're putting down the San Francisco neighborhoods. I mean, I haven't been since it turned to what it is now, but it's an interesting place to visit. But I was thinking about the things that we did last time when we went, because I've just been a trip planner forever. So when we went, I had itineraries down to like the travel time, and like you have an hour and a half to take a nap if you want to take a nap, and like this is how long it's going to take to drive there. And we did tours of the baseball stadium, remember?
Yep.
We went to, like, we had all of these like very specific
stadium.
cool, was it football stadium? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we went to a baseball game.
We toured the football stadium before they moved football stadiums, and then we went to a baseball game. We saw Tony Bennett. But we had all these things done. And one of the things that we had done, and I forgot about it until you were actually in San Francisco, is we went to this place called the Buena Vista Cafe and had the absolute hands down best Irish coffee you have ever had in your life. It is in San Francisco.
I mean, that's what it's known for. So you basically roll up, you know, pop in your seat, and you're like, "What do you have?"
Do they even
Irish coffee.
ask you, or are they just like,
I mean, they'll
"Here
ask
you
you
go"?
what do you want, and
Are you just
say,
like, "Psh,"
Irish coffee, and they're like, okay, you know, they have like a million cups. You know, the
Like,
one
ready
guy's
to
just
go?
like making Irish coffees nonstop. But they do offer like other, you know, other drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
So
But I freaked out because I think I texted you. I was like, "Oh my god!" And you're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "You can go get Irish coffee." And I looked it up, and it was like a 5-10 minute walk from your hotel.
Yeah.
I was like, "Go right now." I was like, "I don't care that it's like noon. Go right now and get an Irish coffee." And I was just like so jacked for you because I have ordered Irish coffees all over the country since then.
no, it's
Nothing compares
yeah,
to that Irish coffee at that bar.
Yeah, no, it's super good. So definitely recommend if you're in over there somewhere, go get a Irish coffee from Buena Vista.
But then they even let you do like a to-go Irish
Yeah, yeah.
coffee, which was just a cup of coffee, and then they gave you like a little mini liquor bottle,
Yeah,
which I thought was funny. You
but
brought
it's great
those
because
home.
they tell you can't open it until like you can't pour it in there to go. You have to. They give you the two separate, and you do what you want with it.
Right. Fair enough. But you visited Ghirardelli,
Yeah,
which was
I
something
did
we
the
did last.
touristy
You
stuff.
did you hit the highlights,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that place was amazing. Sunfield says San Francisco is interesting these days. That is a fact. Yeah. See, Buena Vista is like, it's known for the Irish coffee.
Yeah.
Like, it was so good. Like, of all the, like, even going to the premiere, like, I was like, oh man, that'd be cool to go. But then when I learned you could have that Irish coffee, it's like, that's the one thing
But
I'm
see,
really bummed
but-
about.
Okay, so kind of going back to being like a solo traveler, I think the adjustment that I had to make was typically, or like for the last 10 years, we've been traveling majority of the time with a kid, or I'm traveling with you. So like, I have
Basically
not,
with a kid.
Yeah, I have not traveled by myself probably ever.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things that, I dropped my luggage off and I was like, well, what do I do? There's nobody dictating what I need to do next.
Yeah.
So, I go start walking and, go do liquid sound for a little bit. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of hungry. Let me go get something. Like it was so freeing, but also scary just because I hadn't done that in so long.
Yeah. Isn't that sad though?
Yeah.
Sorry for all of the work I've inflicted on you. That was one of the things that I texted you because like one of the travel agents had told me at the summit that we went to back in September is it was before the summit started, the night before, and we're like walking to the hotel bar to get drinks. And she was like, nobody needs anything from any of us right now. What a thought that is. And I was like, that is a relief that you don't realize. Like when you're on vacation or when you're on a trip, you're like, there's no like lingering laundry that needs to be folded or, oh, I got to put this away or I need to go pay that bill or do any of those things. Or like a kid doesn't need me. A spouse doesn't need me. Like just in my head now, whenever I'm on a trip, I'm like, nobody needs anything from me right now. Like that alone, like I don't have to do anything. Like I could do nothing and like, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's my prerogative.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's not the first thought that goes in my head. The freeing part is not the first thought, but it is something that I was like aware of.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, there is like nothing, so after I ate, I went and took a little nap and then that's when I went and just walked. So it was definitely interesting for sure. Like just the entire weekend, it was definitely an adventure for me.
It wasn't even the weekend.
Well, yeah, I guess that's
It's
true.
like the beginning
Oh
of the
yeah,
week.
and it was apparent when we went to try to go to a bar after Bad Batch.
Oh, really?
Everything's like mostly everything's closed.
Well, I mean,
so.
it was like a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Tuesday,
Tuesday.
that's when Dano landed.
Mm-hmm.
But you had more of a chill day that day.
Yeah. So I've been on this workout kick this year. So I tried out the little gym there, and they had like a Peloton bike. That was my first time trying that. I wasn't inducted into the cult.
You're not a Peloton girly.
Yeah, I'm not a Peloton girl. So I'll try something else. But it was nice to get, try that out. But it was also raining that entire morning. So there, it would have been really nice to maybe do an actual run.
Yeah.
Because I could have gone to like the picture spots and done that whole
Done
thing.
a cool run.
But it was raining all morning, and so it was kind of one of those, man, hopefully it doesn't ruin the evening type of thing. But it ended up slowing down like when it was premiere time. So
that's good.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. And then afterwards, it kind of sprinkled here and there. But yeah, as far as the weather, like that kind of put a damper on that Tuesday because it started coming down.
Like literally put a
Yeah.
damper on it. Let's see. Did you see the seals this time?
I walked by that pier because that's when it started raining. Like when I was all the way over there,
Oh.
and that was like that bread spot.
Oh, the
So,
place.
yeah.
You
So there was like
FaceTimed me and you're like, oh my God, Sarah, this place smells amazing.
yeah, there was a bakery there that it was delicious smelling. Like you just walked past it, and it was just like you hit a wall of delicious
You know
smells.
how much I love bread, man. There's a few people saying you should have visited the Disney Family Museum. I didn't know that was a thing in
Yeah.
San Francisco. We'll have to add that next time.
Yeah.
Next time we go to San Francisco. I do love that city. I think it's gorgeous. Did you eat good sourdough? Did you eat any seafood? Did you eat lots of mushrooms? I remember when we
No,
went last
I
time,
didn't.
it was like they put mushrooms in everything. And like at the time, neither of us liked mushrooms. And I think we basically were forced to, by the end of the trip, like mushrooms. 'Cause we were like, oh my God. You can't get a meal without
no,
them.
there was no. I think it was mainly breakfast foods that I ate. So that or sandwiches. Like it was
Sandwiches.
super early or super late.
It's at the Presidio. Huh. I think that was close to where you
Yeah, that was
were, right?
yeah.
Or maybe the Presidio was where we stayed last time because we stayed like further
I think that was close to where we.
where you were. Okay, so let's talk about the premiere. So just tell me
a
all about it.
Huge shout out to Raimi over the Dad Batch because that is how we got the invite. He pulled some strings, put my name in the hat, and I was able to go over there, and again, it's one of those like you're there when it's happening. But the crazy part of it is showing up
Yeah.
and you start seeing people that you either recognize or that That was a cool part.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because you're always afraid when you get invited to a party and you're like, I know the person that invited me, but
Yeah.
I don't know anybody there.
Yeah.
And I was glad that you had Dano because like Dano and like if to be fair, like our friend groups are pretty similar. So like if you didn't know them, Dano wouldn't know them, right? Like
Yeah.
for the most part. So I'm like, at least you got like a buddy to go with.
Yeah. So yeah, it basically started with, I went with Dano, but then, I saw the Dad Batch. So I saw Stevie, John. So I was like, okay, and Raimi. I was like, okay, we're good. But then, I see Odd Viking, which we hadn't met formally.
Yeah.
And, it was, again, he was like, oh, hey, recognized me. He's like, hey, what's going on? And, finally we meet type of thing. So that
You
was
were
like,
Clark Kenting it too because you were reverse Clark. You
Yeah.
were Supermaning because you didn't have your glasses.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were not going to wear your glasses.
yeah, if,
You need to see it with your eyes,
Yeah.
not through some lenses.
I had to try to look, get dolled up for my pictures and
I
stuff.
love your glasses, though.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Next time.
Next premiere.
But no, it was really cool because, you know, as you're kind of standing around waiting, everybody's taking pictures, and you could kind of feel the energy, everybody getting excited for it.
Yeah.
You know, finding out that it's 501st and all these different people there, and
Were there people like dressed up?
uh,
Like, what were the vibes? Like, explain the
so
attire, because I know you and I were like, "What do you wear?"
yeah, that was one of the things I was super
It's
worried
always
about.
a stress when you get invited anywhere. Like, what's the procedure?
No, I mean I think most people were wearing like their like 501st shirts, jackets, you know. I was definitely like perfectly dressed for it. There was nothing like I felt overdressed
just
or
like,
underdressed. Yes.
God.
Yes.
You're like, I don't want to stand out
Yeah.
too much in any direction. I want to look like I belong.
Yeah. So no, but it was really cool, and then just kind of, you know, hearing people like talk about their little, you know, stories of how they made their costume or whatever. Like, you know, everybody's talking to each other. But yeah, they just like seeing everybody there get excited for it, and then they come out and tell you like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna go in and sit down, and they start ushering us all in, and just going into that lobby area. It's one of those like hollowed ground type of thing, because there's nothing crazy, like it's not all decked out, you know, Star Wars feeling. It's just like an office lobby with like an R2 there.
Yeah.
There's a Vader statue, a K2SO statue, and like little trinkets in the
It's not like you're walking into like the Death Star or
yeah,
something.
it's not like that, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know, that's where magic happens. So like it,
like cribs.
so it was like super cool. You're kind of like, oh, okay, like this is, you know, if you've seen like behind the scene type stuff, like that's like where they film stuff
Yeah.
right there. So you know, it's just super cool. And then they have like the little red carpet with the you know, little step and repeat back there. You take the pictures. You know, a bunch of trooper mannequins back there.
I was such a mom too, and I was like, I need a picture of you on the red carpet, Dano on the red carpet, the two of you together on the red carpet. I need pictures of you with all of our friends.
So, well, no, the thing that
You were like, we'll see.
well, because I was like, we tried to figure out where we, you know, you don't want to be first in line, or like there was people already first in line.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, do we get in now or like hang back and see what happens?
Especially if it's like a theater setting, because if you go to the Disney parks, you know, if you're first in line, you're like front corner, because they make
Maybe
you fill in like all the way.
This one they let you pick.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like as you come in.
So you went like front middle of the line, right?
I went like middle, but
Oh,
like
okay.
all the middle.
No. I mean like in line to go in. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
be the very first people to pick,
yeah.
but you want to be like,
So we got
20% through.
we got a decent spot. It was like middle, little bit off to the left.
okay. How big was it? Okay, so wait. We're going way too fast here.
Okay.
Okay, so you're in. You guys are just like hanging out in the lobby. How many people were there for the premiere?
Oh man, you got me there. It's like it's a full theater.
Really, like
yeah.
a big movie theater?
Yeah, like a big movie theater.
Okay, so
And now
you
it's
guys,
not like stadiumed. It's more you know, shallowed, but
Yeah.
it's like a full
like
theater.
it could fit like a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Was it full?
Yes. Now they had some Lucasfilm people in the back 2 rows, so
Oh.
like that. I think animators and stuff like that.
Oh, I was gonna
So-
say that's interesting. The back 2 rows, but then I guess you can see it better than if
Yeah.
you're this, right? Like craning your neck. Okay, that's fair. So you guys are all waiting outside, like near the Yoda fountain.
Yep.
And then they let you inside in the lobby, and they kind of held you there for a bit, and that's where the red carpet.
No, as soon as you were into the lobby, like you got checked in,
Yeah.
and then they said, you know, you could go take a picture, you know, the red carpet, or you know, go seat. So
Oh.
they're just like letting everybody. But again, everybody's kind of talking and chatting, and that's
Yeah.
when we were sitting down. We were kind of like figuring out, you know, who's there, who's not there, and I saw my shirt twin, Harvey, and you know, it had a Ahsoka shirt, and I was like, okay, well, I got to go get a picture, because like the chances of 2 Ahsoka Roosevelts.
Yeah.
And then as like I thought it, and I'm like, okay, I need to go get a picture. I see the Mos Eisley patch, and I was like, I definitely need to go get a picture now. So it was one of those things I'm having to like chase after him, because he's like walking across the the front.
Or are you just yelling at him like, Mosh Isley,
I was like, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me."
I think you're really cool.
But no, so I was like, "Hey, can I get a picture? We have the same Roosevelt shirt, same Roosevelt shirts, whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, and also you're Mosh Isley." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I went to San Diego." And it's one of those weird things, like you're kind of like, "I am Mosh Isley."
Yes.
No, I didn't say that.
You should have.
But I was like, "Oh yeah, like which one did you go to?"
Yeah.
And he's like, San Diego. I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah, it was a really great time," and he's kind of talking about it, like selling it to me, which is really
Was
cool.
he really?
Yeah, well, because he's like, "It's really cool because it's like this, and
You're like,
he won a
"I
guitar."
know.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I put it on," and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, like I'm part of," and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like that's when I'm not you, so I'm always at like,
You don't have like shining
Yeah.
gray hair that just shimmers.
so.
I think that's why everybody knows me is because I'm just like that.
And
Crazy
then I didn't
lady.
have glasses, so I could have been the other
You were
thing.
Superman.
Yeah. But no, he starts, Harvey starts chatting with me, and we were just, talking about Mosh. And
But you guys were dressed like exactly the same. Like you had black pants, the Ahsoka shirt, a black jacket.
I mean, that's the uniform.
It was the cool guy uniform. Oh, look. Okay, we haven't Raimi for the win. Yes, absolutely. Like that was super cool.
Yeah.
Yep, he did win a guitar in San Diego. That's what, like when you tagged him, I was like, that name sounds really familiar.
Well, and that was the same when he said his name. I was like, again, it sounds familiar. But then he's like, yeah, I want a guitar. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like that was what triggered in my head that
Yeah.
it reminded me.
Let's see. The Ray Harryhausen King Kong statue in the lobby is really cool. At least when I saw it with my face pressed up against the window. Brent was messaging me earlier. He was like, I've been there. He's like, I haven't been inside, but I've been to visit the Yoda. I feel like if you
The first day that I went, when I was taking pictures, there was people there, and they were like,
peeking in.
taking pictures or like looking in, through the windows. So, and I wonder, there's like the security people, like right there.
They have to be used to
so
it.
they're just like, they just have to see all the fishes like come by looking.
Like a little, like a zoo, tapping on the
Yeah.
glass. That's exciting though. So, okay, so you go in, you go sit down, you find your seats. You and Dano sat together.
Mm-hmm.
And then were they like, all right, here you go.
Yeah. So, there's some people taking pictures, and I forget her name from StarWars.com.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she comes out and she's like, she kind of, she does the MC, like kind of like, you excited for it, Bad Batch, final season, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's okay. We're going to begin. And it's like, after she says that, she like walks back and they like play it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not even like a,
There's like nothing like,
no warm-ups.
no warm up.
Just poof,
Yeah.
Bad Batch. I guess there's no trailer. Like,
Well, see,
you're at a
so
premiere.
they don't play like the previously on type of thing. It was just like,
Oh, they didn't play that?
no, it just went dum dum, like,
Thank God
Yeah.
you started binging Bad Batch. Like as soon as you learned you were going, you're like, I gotta catch up. Or
Well, I
not
was
catch
caught
up, but like I gotta refresh.
yeah, I got to refresh. But yeah, so it goes straight into it, and it was interesting because they went each episode. There was no credits, so it was like, title, episode, Bad Batch, title, episode, Bad Batch, title, episode,
And then all the
and
end
then
credits.
and then all the credits.
Yeah. When we were watching it tonight, you're like, it wasn't like this.
Well, because they like when they the way they did it rolled into more of like that movie
Yeah.
setting, because they just kind of like went from, almost like scene to scene.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
That's cool.
So yeah, I mean, it was the part that it was kind of the best part, but also it's what I figured would happen, is just being able to watch Star Wars in that theater setting. Like that, whenever the movies would come out in general, that was always
Opening night.
we
Opening
would always
night.
go watch it, because that's when everybody was excited. There's just that energy. Like there's just that
The people
excitement.
that love it and are like really there
Yeah.
for the right reasons are there, and it creates this atmosphere of just like there's like it's palpable.
Yeah.
Like you can feel the excitement in the air.
So
I'm glad you got to experience
yeah,
that
so
because
that was like the best part of it is just seeing things and the gasps and
yeah,
the laughs and stuff like that. So
I think that's something that we really lack nowadays too, is like getting to watch something together in person like that. We kind of like
They
Mosh Isley
do-
kind of does that,
no,
but
no.
it's not
and I'm
watching
just
something.
thinking more of on the movie settings. Like it's there, but for some reason it's not able to capture that feeling.
But think about like most of the stuff we're getting for Star Wars right now, it's on Disney Plus, it's streaming. Everybody's watching it in their homes. And like Dano when he was doing his live streams, and like even Thank the Maker when they do their like day of recaps and all of that stuff, like they're great to listen to and to watch because you're like, oh, somebody else is excited about this. But it's like, if Dano's instance, it's like one person and then everybody's in the chat. Or with Thank the Maker, it's like the 3 or the 4 of them or whoever. But to be in a room full of people like that and
Yeah.
you're all watching it at the
Nah,
same time and you're
it's-
all focused on it rather than like watching it on your tiny screen and there's this happening and there's that happening, like there's something special to that. And
Yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
tell you the last time like I experienced something like that.
No, it definitely is like that, a different feeling of watching it because you, again, and then too, just being able to watch this, and like there's parts of it that you kind of miss no matter, like, you know, I guess unless you have a theater at your house, but you kind of miss because it's just like there are some beautiful shots, you know, in the couple episodes. So
Yeah.
you're kind of like, oh man, that's like super cool. Like,
You were pausing it when we were watching it tonight. You're like, did you notice the shadows on her face? And I was like,
well, because again, like you just kind of see it when it's bigger,
yeah.
and the sound, you know, there's more intense sounds, not just, you know, it coming out of your.
Your TV speakers.
So, yeah, it was definitely cool to watch it with that group of people, and
And there were people you knew too, and I
yeah.
think that's really special because even just like going to a movie theater, like one of the things we do locally is like we have a group of like your friends. We go watch Marvel movies. We didn't go see.
that's
Madam
not
Web.
really Marvel, so
Yeah, fair. Oh, it's not really a movie. From what we've heard, we didn't go watch it, but we have like you have a group of friends that we go with, and we go watch all the Marvel movies, and we try to go like on opening day because we're trying to like almost chase that high of that energy.
Yeah.
Even though like Marvel's kind of got weird after a time, but we still go do it because it's like it's fun to go with people you know and be excited about something and experience something together in that same moment.
well, I think it's because like what we try to do is like after the movie comes out and when there was that MCU feeling, there was like you could start theorizing of how does it fit into the whole story, what does this mean for the total story. And I think at the end of, or the tail end of the Marvel stuff, it didn't feel that way. It was very much like, you know, the multiverse. So there's like, they could go anyway. There's no, you know, not really anything making that effort to like, oh, let me figure out what they're going to do because they're just going to throw stuff at us.
And now sidebar, Deadpool may be the one to unite
I think that's going to be
that's
really interesting.
wild to me. Like I was telling you, I was like, if somebody said when the first Deadpool movie came out, if somebody said like Deadpool's going to be the one to reignite the spark of the MCU, because man, is it going to be a weird ride? Like there was no way, absolutely no way. Okay, let's catch up a little bit though, because I think we've gotten behind. I did see one; it was further back. Jason said, "I've definitely had mushrooms in San Francisco." I thought that was pretty good. TJ and Paul, the Marinos, showed up. Claudia's here. We've got lots of
Ben.
people in here. Ben is here. Let's see. Did anyone bring a Lula or Loth cat with them to the premiere?
So it kind of. Oh, do we talk about the episode? Are we assuming everybody has seen the episodes yet? Because we're trying not to get into, because that's the boys arena.
No. Listen, Hondo, are you in here? Last episode, when was it? 2 weeks ago? Last week? They were talking about Epic Universe and the Disney parks. And like they
I'm gonna
asked,
put it on Sarah so you could
So I
see
can
her
rant.
anger.
so they asked me that day because the news came out about Epic Universe while I was on the Icon of the Seas cruise. So we knew that our next episode was going to be about Icon of the Seas, but we knew we wanted to talk about Epic Universe at some point. I get a text like in a group chat, and they were like, "Hey, are you guys going to talk about Epic Universe on Princess and Scoundrel this week?" And I was like, "No, we're talking about Icon." And they're like, "Cool, we're gonna do an episode on it." I was like, "What?" I was like, "When did Thank the Maker become a theme park podcast?" And so we've been like teasing them for like the last couple of weeks about it. So I'm like, you know what? We already at that point knew that you had gotten
Yeah.
invited to the premiere. So like, if they can be a theme park podcast, we can be a Star Wars show review podcast. So let's go with the
All right,
stolen.
so we're
What
gonna
what
do-
are the
we're
stolen
gonna do-
plans?
The
What's
Den
your-
of Antiquities.
What's your I love you I
So
know
the Den of
moment?
Antiquities. This very, very, very funny story. So after the episodes came out,
By the way, are we going to be talking about spoilers for the first 3 episodes?
not yet,
Okay.
not yet.
But wait, Hondo is in here.
But at the end of the episodes, they had the executive producers Brad Rao, Jennifer
Corbett.
D. Bradley Baker, and Michelle
Ang.
Ang. And it was super cool because again,
Had
there's-
they been there? Had they been in the audience like
yeah, I
watching
think
it?
so. I think they were in the back watching it with us. And
Was it one of those things where it was like, oh my God, D. Bradley Baker's in the back?
Nah, they kind of like there's gonna be some, there's some chairs up here, so like we might have some
You're
guests
like-
here. So
You're like, you really just need the one, maybe 2. It's
2.
really just, I like that in the credits.
No,
it was like
so
D. Bradley Baker as the bad man.
no, it was like beautiful. It was beautiful to hear them talk about it because they're saying goodbye to this family, to this like, and that's what they
'Cause
called
it's
it,
the
like
final
this
season.
found family, that the show, The Bad Batch, and just kind of they're working on this project together, and they're kind of like saying goodbye type of thing, and yeah, so it was just like super cool to see them talk about it, and how much it means to them and stuff, like, and then like Brad like it's calling out the Dad Batch, and I was like I know them. I know-
Really?
yeah, it was like super cool.
That's neat.
And then they're talking about their stories, and they can't.
I know them.
Well, it's funny because like it's one of those like they can't talk. They like, I know so much, but I cannot say like.
Yeah.
And like they were talking about Ventress, like from the trailer. They're like, yeah, she got a haircut. Like that's that was like, yeah, her haircut. Like she's has a haircut.
Oh,
But yeah, so they kept it live, but also just some of the stuff that they said. I don't know if like it's things that are gonna carry through the rest of the series.
can you talk about the things they said, or
Yeah,
because
I mean, I'm assuming. So like
I assume they couldn't they wouldn't let you
Yeah,
like
I'm-
film it or anything.
yeah, and yeah,
But they're not making you sign like NDAs or anything
no,
like that.
no. But a lot of like the messaging they had, like some of the beautiful, like Michelle Ang's character, like they talked about how, like first, if you've ever heard her talk, like she is Omega, like it is Omega, like her normal voice is Omega.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, it's such a trip because you see the person there talking and it's Omega. But kind of the whole message that you sometimes forget is, and watching the episode, is how Omega never gives up on Crosshair,
Yeah.
and they kind of hit on that, like Crosshair. And the episode 1 was the first time that he had called Omega to her, like that was the first time, like he had said Omega, I think, when he did but they pointed out that he actually talked to her like as like not just a
spoke
kid.
to her.
Yeah,
What would he refer to her as before?
I'm guessing kid or something like
I
that.
mean, I guess it was like a very brief period that
Yeah.
they actually.
Interacted.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, that was and it's very much a turning point for Crosshair, where like he kept telling her to give up on him,
Yeah.
don't, you know, he was trying to push her away so much that, you know, she didn't give up on him. And that was kind of the messaging. And so I kind of feel like the remaining of the series, we're going to see them. And that was one of the things I pointed out, because it was like imagery that kind of showed up on the trailer. But when she's talking to him through the cell, she also has like a shadow of a crosshair on her face.
Did they talk about that?
They didn't talk about that.
Oh, that was just something that you
But again, I
noticed.
think they just talked about how Crosshair and Omega together. I think we're going to see more of that.
Look at that. Claudia is saying Crosshair was so done with life and Omega was just pure light.
Yeah. And I think, so there was that. And then again, from what they were saying, like just the messaging they were kind of giving was that Omega is kind of that symbol of, it doesn't matter, like, even at like how small she is, she was making such a huge impact.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the messaging to everybody, is like, doesn't matter how small you are, you're going to make a huge impact.
Or how small you think you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can make an impact no matter what.
So like that, you know, that was kind of the, you know, that, and then the whole found family, you know, they kind of like talked about that, how, you know, they chose that family. It wasn't the family that they had, but they chose it, and they're gonna save it, you know, however they can.
I like that.
But and then one of the things that we got was the and you've probably
Where did
seen.
you get this from? Did you get it from AJ?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see them. People are saying that I'm blurry. They said, is the camera out of focus, or is Sarah on her third drink? I'm on my second drink. Thank you very much.
It might be picking up your mic.
Oh, it could be. I'm holding it in front of my face. So it is an Omega stash of tissues, the final season tiers from your friends at Lucasfilm. I think D. Bradley Baker posted
somebody
this.
posted it, and there was nothing that teary in these first 3 episodes. So I am concerned for the remaining of the series. Right?
Like how
because
much?
because the thing is like, we're seeing Crosshair, you know, have his redemption. Like, is he gonna kind of pull the same, you know, Plan 99 type of thing, or not? You know,
Yeah.
to save Omega type of thing, or, you know, I don't know.
Oh, it's like a sticker on top of it. Could
Or is it just tears because it's the final season? And
does
if that's
AJ
the case,
does AJ know?
I don't know.
That's where I'm like, does AJ know what happens, or is it just like it's the final season? Because it says final season tiers, so it's like maybe it's just because we're having to say goodbye to.
That's what I'm saying. And again, that's what like a lot of the messaging was just kind of like, here's this project that they've been working on and they've been passionate about for this entire time, from, you know, before the pandemic until now, and, you know, seeing it like become what it is.
Oh no. In interviews, Dee has said for fans to have their tissues ready at the end. I mean, season 2, like, I think absolutely crushed everybody. Like,
and there was, I think, and on that, everybody was like hopeful that tech lives. You know, that it was that, remember that hashtag tech lives. But
yeah, it was like no body, no death, or something like that.
But I think with the glasses, you know, being in the episode when Hunter, like, and it was just so somber when they were like in that ship in the Marauder. It was just him and Wrecker.
Well,
and it was just like,
I even called it out because I was like, how come there's only 2 of them? Oh, and I was like, oh,
that's
oh, and it was like, and then they showed the glasses right afterwards with Hunter, and I was like,
yeah, I mean, and it's just like that life, it's just not there in that ship, and you kind of see the doll, you know, the Lula. But, you know, it reminds me, so I don't forget.
Yeah.
So they had the straw Lula that she made, and they were talking about it on the panel, and basically Brad called out, what's her name again?
Kristen.
He called out Kristen because I guess like in workshopping it, she called it Trash Lula. And so it was like everybody starts laughing, but they ended up making an actual toy for all the panelists or everybody up there, and
Of Trash Lula.
but it's straw. It's a straw Tuca, is what they're
Okay.
calling it.
Is it a
So, and
Tuca doll? Like,
So I think that's what they're gonna. I think they're gonna be selling it, on.
I mean, if they, well, you never know.
Yeah,
'Cause,
again.
like, these were like, this is not something that's going to be like widely distributed. So they may have just made like a couple.
But it was like super cute looking, and so I was like, okay, they have to sell that, right? And then they said, yeah, we'll be selling it.
Oh, did they say that?
That's what they said.
Oh.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I'm happy to give them my money for a cute little Star Wars doll.
Yeah.
Beats up Squishmallow.
Mark had not buying tech is gone.
Batcher. You were like, oh, Batcher was his
Oh,
name.
so the thing is, they didn't have subtitles there.
We're a subtitle household.
Yeah, so they didn't have subtitles. So when her accent's pretty strong, I thought she was saying Betcha was the animal, the creature's name, the
What was it?
Luca,
Licha?
Luke,
Lurka?
yeah. But seeing it is like, oh, it's Batcher. Okay.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
More sense. Oh man, yeah. I was watching. It was great. I was gonna try to watch it with the kids before because you got in late, and so we were like, okay, we've got this like weird time after bedtime. I was like, let's watch something. Bad Batch came out,
Now-
and they were like, nah, we're gonna watch Orion in the Dark on Netflix, which was
So
Not
kind
as
of
good.
going to the episodes. I think one of the.
voiced Batcher too.
Yeah. I think a flaw that I kind of.
Are we in spoiler
Yeah, we're
territory?
going to talk about the episode.
Let's do
now.
this.
We're going to talk about the episode. But
Avert your
the fact
ears.
that Omega, like, she knew that Emery was. She was taking the blood. Nalase was destroying it,
Yeah.
and she didn't put two and two together sooner.
What?
So that
She's
was like
smarter than that.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it was like, I don't understand why that didn't catch on way earlier.
Because it was literally 5 months.
Yeah,
5 months of them taking her blood, and Nala say,
doing it the entire time.
yeah. You never in your mind did you think like,
It
why
might
she
be.
do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she asked, and she was like, "It's better that you don't, you don't." But it's like, okay, she's doing it for a reason, so I just got to find out what that reason is.
But
And
the other
even
thing-
then, like, if that's the case, I got to make sure I destroy it because Nalase's been telling me to, or she's been doing it.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That seems like you're super freaking smart, Omega. Like, come on. And you also know
And I
that
mean,
you're
maybe
like
just the being in prison for so long, it just kind of it starts wearing out. Because that was the other thing is like there was kind of that shift of at first there was a little bit of resistance at the beginning, and then after that 5-month mark, she was more compliant. Going on, being ready to wake up in the morning. So kind of that Munchausen type of feel, like
not
or
Munchausen,
Stockholm.
Stockholm, the other one.
yeah.
The Beauty and the Beast syndrome.
Yeah. So it was like she was, waking up on her own and being ready
Yeah.
and going along with it. So it could have been one of those things that it was like, okay,
Like complacency.
yeah,
It could have been. Paul says it kind of shows the arrogance of the Empire too, in my opinion, because they wouldn't think anyone would do that under their nose, so they didn't even watch for it. That was one of the things I was thinking though as I was watching the episodes. Is like they had the troopers that they had like guarding the labs specifically. Those were some massive guns
like the
or
commando.
blasters. The ones with the lights.
The commando.
Are those
Yeah.
the commando troopers? Their guns were huge.
Well, I mean, he's gonna have the highest. Like this is a secret lab, and it's gonna have the most security. So it's not.
I guess so.
And then like the TKs, it's that was one of the things you kind of pointed out. You're like, oh, like why do those look different?
Yeah,
And that's the beginning of the stormtroopers.
because they looked like the trooper. It looked like the helmets that
It's very early.
like Ezra wore.
I think they're supposed to be closer to like the concept trooper, but like the TK, like one of the first ones was TK 343, so it was like very very early TKs.
Oh.
Because like
Oh,
now
okay.
everybody has like, you know,
Like four
four or five,
numbers.
4 or 5 numbers.
Marco says, as soon as she said I never knew I had a sister, I knew Omega was slipping. I don't think
Emery.
Emery is her sister.
Yeah. I the fact that she questioned,
I've never thought that. Like, as soon as she was like, I'm your sister, Omega, I was like,
Yeah.
no.
because she doesn't show that she's ever getting blood drawn either.
Yeah.
So
How is a clone in charge of the other clones?
Well, no,
and
no,
drawing samples
that-
and all of that stuff without her blood being drawn.
yeah, that's I think that's the thing. Is like I don't question that it's a clone doing it, but it's a clone not being
Not having it done to herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason says Wrecker uses the same blaster as the Commandos. He's just
So it doesn't
huge,
look so
so
big.
it doesn't look as big. Okay, but if anyone had met me and is rewatching the episodes, please notice the resemblance of me and Nala Say. Dude, TJ, specifically, I'm speaking to you right now. I want both of us to, what was her name? I want us to cosplay as the dude's mom. Who was it? The horn dude. Because she had like
Oh,
white hair,
the-
but she had a long neck. What was her name? I don't know. She was like zapping
The
people.
syndicate.
Yeah, whoever
I
that
don't know
syndicate was.
the moms.
Right? We could do it. I need your long neck and you need my hair. And we could just put us together and we could. I was like, oh, that's a really good cosplay because she had the horns coming out of her forehead.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you could just do like a forehead piece. And then she just had like her hair like clipped back. And
Roland,
She had,
I think it was the name.
no, it wasn't Roland. It was with a D maybe? Durand. Durand. Isa? Durand. I was like, dang, that's a good one. And then I was like, you could be her weird son.
With the horn
The
missing.
handsome Squidward.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like to me.
But he knew it was Omega too.
He did. He's like, I hope you find who you're looking for, right?
Because if like, you know, again, it was good that we were watching the first season because that's when he like Omega just kind of like trusted him.
Yeah.
Like where people didn't trust him.
Hungry like the Loth Wolf. Yeah. So, okay. So then they do the panel. How long was the panel? Here was the thing I worried about because they're like 30-minute episodes, like a true 30-minute, right? I was like, you watched all 3 of those and you didn't get to go pee? And then they went into a panel after that? I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no food and drinks either. So
Yeah, no popcorn.
yeah,
There was nothing.
nothing.
So how long was the panel, though?
I don't remember. Again, it was just like a good time. Like
Were you just like,
you're just like super excited.
were you like
'cause,
vibrating in your seat? Like, oh my God, I'm sitting in Lucasfilm. I'm watching a premiere of something that other people in the world haven't, like, you guys got to see it a few hours early even.
I think the part of it again, it felt like a panel, like where they come out and they're
Yeah.
asking questions. Like it's very
Like at a convention, you
like,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it felt like, but it felt a bit more intimate because it wasn't something that they were trying to like rush through. Like there was a time limit. So
Oh, okay.
It
That's
was just
fair.
like they're having their conversations and you know they had some like sappy moments. You know, D. Brad Baker's like kind of saying his, you know, everybody here, like all the Lucasfilm people, they grew up as fans watching this. Like they're working on it. Like you could be, you know.
True. Okay, but truly, let's talk about that for a second because our friend Scott, they've worked worked on animation and the concept art for these shows.
Yeah.
And they put out there that they worked on concept or on art for Bad Batch. And it's just like
Season 2 stuff, yeah.
and we know Scott through Star Cruiser because we know everybody through Star Cruiser.
Yeah.
But it's wild to think that the world can be so small. Like once you find your community of people and you find your found family,
Yeah.
like how small the world actually is.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, on that, it was so funny because like after the premiere and, you know, everybody's kind of like, you know, oh my, like geeking out about it.
Yeah.
And then taking their pictures or whatnot.
did you take your red carpet picture before you went in or after?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah. But there was a person that was walking by and I was like, why do I know them? Why do I know them? Like, it was just like so familiar. Like I remember the face And I was telling Dan, I was like, I think that's a voice actor because like I know he's not a character, but I recognize him.
Right.
I don't remember why. But it was just kind of like in passing. So I was like, okay, like whatever. And and it just kept like irking me. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Well, the next day, like the day we were flying out, we go eat breakfast. In walks the guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, this dude, like, again, I see him, and I'm like, where do I know him from? Like, I know he's Star Wars. Let me see what he is. Well, it was Brian Herring. He's the puppeteer for BB-8, and that's why I was like, okay, that's why I know him, because like when I was building BB-8, like I was obsessing over all the different
Matt Denton, Brian Herring, like all of them.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, he's like right here eating.
Because he was like the puppeteer. He was the one like running on the sand with the thing right
Force
behind
Awakens
him.
and so it was just like super funny. And then I was telling you, it was one of those things where, so he came in, we're eating, and I didn't want to bother him. Like he's eating his breakfast. So I was like,
Very
I'll wait
kind
till,
of you.
I'll wait until he like walks out. And that was like
For your
when
moment.
Yeah. And that's when you call me. So it was like one of those, all right.
Sorry.
So he goes and pays and he walks off. So I was like, it wasn't meant to be. So I'm just chatting with you. And then I see him walk across again, I think he's visiting. Like he's not
from there.
He's not there. So I see him like walking across. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like there he is again. And then so we're still chatting. I'm calling the lift. And then he's walking back like towards like Lucasfilm. Because again, we're pretty close
right
to the campus. And I see him walk by one more time before I leave. I was like, oh my gosh, like,
you were telling me, you're like, I'm destined to talk to this person, but you never did.
No, I
ruined your moment. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that somewhere along the line, our paths cross again.
It wasn't the right moment. Just like you and I, we grew up around each other and in the same like spheres our entire lives.
It wasn't the time yet. So.
When it's time to meet Brian, you will meet him. Yeah. It will be wonderful. Maybe you'll just be carrying your BB-8. Yeah. Like, oh hey, funny seeing you here.
So, but yeah, so that was like a funny story afterwards, like, recognizing him, but no one else, because again, you're not a face character. Some people don't recognize.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but there's so many people that do work that goes into the stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you do your panel. After the panel, they just like get out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
We're locking. We're setting the alarm in 5 minutes.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean everybody's talking, and I got to take my pictures with everybody because like there was on top of the dad batch, let me kind of do all my little shout outs.
Your roll call.
Yeah, Christian from he's from over there.
Kenobin around.
Yeah, Kenobin around.
AKA the Hondo Onaka at the Hondo Onaka of Star Cruiser. And then at the last Mos Eisley.
Yeah. And BK was there. I didn't take
Sword
a picture.
Of Callus.
Yeah. I didn't take a picture, but in this Indie Speeder was there, little cosplayer. Who else was there? Harvey. I talked to Harvey for a little bit. But yeah, again, it was just like, it was cool because like once you start seeing people that are there that
yeah,
you feel like comfortable.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that afterwards, like I started feeling like, okay, I'm cool. I'm good right there.
I'm so glad because like it is very scary to go on an adventure. Like when I go off on trips on my own, as with the exception of Icon of the Sea, but I was with my sister-in-law. But like if I have to go to somewhere to work, I'm typically going to like a Disney park. So like if I'm on a trip by myself, like it's a Disney park, it's fine. Like I can go make do and I can go, run around and find something to do. But you were in a city where there's no theme park. There's no other things to do. Like you were on your own. And so like that's scary in itself. You're going to do something that you've never done before. So you're like, am I wearing the right outfit? Like
I think that's always my thing is like, am I wearing the right, like I don't want to ever be underdressed or overdressed.
Right.
So.
But here's my main thing is like, I slightly bummed that I didn't get to go do that with you. Like, yes, absolutely. But more than anything, like overwhelmingly, I was just so happy for you to get to go do this because you have loved Star Wars your entire life. Like, Star Wars has meant so much to you. It has been a comfort. It's been a security blanket
Yeah.
to you since you were a little kid. And for you to get to go experience the premiere of a show, a Star Wars show, at the headquarters where this stuff is made.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a, a little dream come true.
Like, could you have even imagined that would happen like 2-3 years, like 3 years ago?
I mean, it's one of those things that you're like,
When Bad Batch came out and we
Oh,
were
no.
making pancakes every Saturday morning, because remember, Bad Batch used to come out on Friday nights.
yeah,
Or it would come out on Fridays. And we would wait until Saturday morning and we would make pancakes and we would all sit there as a family Saturday morning. We would watch it. Like, did you think then that you would get to go
oh no, absolutely not.
this?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a, a little dream come true, being able to do that, and again, just like the part of it that was the scary part, but also now the cool part is I was able to go and be that kid, and just kind of like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is the place. This is where it is. And again, getting to sit there for the panel and stuff, not having to be like, shh, be quiet. Here's the phone
To
like,
me?
Yeah. So yeah, it was like super cool. But I'm excited for the next one. So
Oh, okay. Are we going to go to like a big like red carpet event?
whatever the next one is, like hopefully like we have to like will it into fruition.
We're going to manifest.
Yeah, manifest it.
Manifest big things for us. I think this is the year of the yes, especially for you.
Yeah.
But I think that so far, like I think we've had some pretty good opportunities just in this year alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like I got to go to the inaugural sailing of Icon of the Seas, the biggest cruise ship in the world. It's like sold out for like a year and a half. And like I'm very upset about it because it is such a good time that I'm like, I could do that like once a quarter. Like that was great. That was a really great time. And then we had like a really fantastic Mos Eisley. You got to go to this premiere. We've got our Wish Upon a Star Cruiser.
Okay, so that's kind of on that. Like that's another reason why we have kind of like this flipped. We had a live because we're gonna have the next episode coming up and
Next week.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be on a cruise. So yeah, we're staying busy for sure. Like I am putting in some flight miles.
Yeah, we're getting that A-list status on Southwest this year. Whether like we're hitting it because we have Wish Upon a Star Cruiser. So let's pivot now unless anybody has questions about the premiere. We're going on a big cruise.
Yeah.
We've been on this cruise before, and that's what we're trying to explain to our kids right now because our youngest, she's 4, and she's like super jacked right now for the cruise. So like, how many days? How many days? How many days? And she's literally counting down the days. And she was like, she was telling us, like, I'm kind of nervous about this. We're like, dude, you've been on this cruise before. Like, it's the only ever cruise you've ever been on, but you're going on the same cruise. We're boarding in 8 days.
Yeah, it's coming up.
I have been planning this cruise since pretty much they announced the Star Cruiser closure. Because when they announced the Star Cruiser closure, just to kind of like summarize where we are with this, it was like middle of May. We had that last day of bookings, and then I felt in myself that there was a need to be like, we have to have something that exists after Star Cruiser. We have to continue to get together with this found family, just like with Bad Batch, like this community that has evolved from loving this thing so much. And so it was like, how do we do that? And it seemed like going on the Wish seemed like the next logical move because they do have some Star Wars stuff. It is a short cruise. It feels very much like a Star Cruiser. But the best part of it to me is that it feels like the best part of Star Cruiser, which is the sublight lounge hangs at the end of the night. Like it's not go, 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 go. Like you can just chill out and you can hang out with people. And that's what we're doing. I've been planning this. I think I started with this idea back in June, mid-June, even early June, and started working with like Disney group cruises and like all of this stuff. And then we finally opened it up, I think in beginning of July. And here we are.
Yeah.
All these months
finally here.
finally here. There's been a lot of administrative work on my side. But it's here, it's happening. And so it's like, if it's surreal, it's absolutely surreal that it's finally
I'm excited.
happening.
I'm excited for it because it's going to be just a nice, like, cruise break.
I'm excited. I'm going to be completely transparent. After we went on that first Disney cruise, I was like, I like
think I'm
cruising?
hopeful of it now because just the same reason from the last time. I think because there's going to be people that I know.
Right.
I'm going to feel again, that's my thing is like, if I know people, I'm going to feel comfortable. So we're going to know people. So I'm
Right.
going to feel comfortable. Like,
And I think that was like our biggest issue, I think, with the first cruise is like we were sitting there bored on that third or the second, whatever it is, the third day. And we're just like, I could be hanging out with you at home and we're stuck on this ship. But we also didn't take advantage of all the things that you could do on the ship. Like we just didn't plan very well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you planned it well or not if we're there with a bunch of people.
yeah,
So
if
it's okay.
you're hanging, I don't think it really matters where you're at. You're just like hanging.
It's going to be so much fun.
So
Yeah, and there's like the amount of activities that people have planned for this. I need to go look at it because there's like scavenger hunts and like if you write fan
again,
fiction
that's
and like
the
meetups and
that's
all
the
this.
Star Cruiser community for you. Like they
I love it.
come
I love it.
ready.
They've got like special fish extender groups. Like they've got all of this stuff, and I'm just like, I am so excited for you to do that. I have one request, and I have 4 requests, and it is 3 group pictures at 3 different times. And if you're going on the cruise, I'm sending you an email tomorrow, so do not worry. And then I want pictures with everybody.
Yeah.
Like I just want like kind of like how I ran around Mosh Isley and just like I'm gonna be there with my obnoxious like huge
Your
selfie light. I think it was bigger than my phone, but I'm like I want you and me to take pictures with everybody that is a Star Cruiser fan on that cruise because I'm just like it's so cool. It is so cool that so many people like are into this and like want to get together and hang out with each other and like be stuck on a boat, like an actual boat with people for 3 days. Because Star Cruiser, technically, it was like a lockdown, but you could leave if you really needed to.
Yeah.
Like, we're
I mean, I think everybody was like glad to be stuck on that boat or that ship.
I
So.
know. Any of us would, but it's exciting. So we've got that coming up. We're like just running straight into like a busy season of trips and travel and opportunities. Like I don't know that I'm allowed to talk about what I'm doing this weekend just yet, but stay tuned. I have something very exciting happening on Saturday. Like very exciting, very confusing, but very exciting. But we've got this. We've had incredible opportunities that I don't think either of us ever expected that we would be able to do before starting this podcast, before Star Cruiser, before any of the things. And I don't know, after a year of, it feels like a year, it feels like a lifetime of Star Cruiser shutting down, it feels like there's hope for these really cool things that are on the horizon for us, for the podcast, for the travel stuff. Like it's nice to feel like we're finally like catching a break. And we're very fortunate. Like we are incredibly fortunate to do all of the things that we get to do. But it's just like I feel like things are finally starting to turn up Millhouse.
All right. So kind of going back to the episodes.
Yes.
We kind of talked about little sprinkled in here and there. What do you think is going to happen as far as Hunter and Wrecker?
Oh, okay.
Are they going to go to Tantus with no more Omega, or they're going to meet somewhere else and they're going to be on the run type of thing. Where do you think Ventress is playing in any of this?
Ventress, I think, is going to be, and again, if you're just joining us, or we are talking about Bad
We're
Batch,
gonna
so
talk about-
we're spoiling all of it. So
We're theorizing.
turn away. Ventress, I think, is going to get hired by Dr. Batty. I'm terrible with names, so do not Hemlock. To find Omega.
I disagree.
No,
I think Ventress is going to be a third party to it, but
do you not think that it's just going to be
because
like,
remember she turned on Dooku, so like that separatist will now Empire regime.
So I'm thinking
So
of
remember,
like
she's a Night Sister now.
I'm thinking of basically the storyline for Mando. Like Mando was hired to go get the child and bring him back. So I'm thinking Ventress is hired by the Empire to get Omega, the child, and bring her back. And then maybe she's just like, nah, dude, that's a kid. Like, I don't want no part of that, Dewey.
The only way is because Hemlock likes using
Leverage.
leverage. So like if there's someone that
Human leverage.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's gonna be something like that, like like one of the Mother Night Sisters, then maybe like the
Yeah.
Ventures will be manipulated, but I don't think so. I think they're gonna be a whole different, trying to figure out how to get Omega for their use.
What if Sid hires
because, like, the thing
Ventress
is
to
like-
track them down? Because there's also that unfinished business with Sid, right?
Yeah, so Sid, like, is Sid gonna have redemption, or
Oh, I hope so.
like
Bad Batch has to reunite. They have to reunite, and it cannot be. We cannot wait for the finale for that to happen. That's cruel because that is the series finale. Like, if it's going to be Bad Batch season 3, that batch needs to be back together. We're already 3 episodes in.
yeah.
They've escaped with like a super dope shit. Oh my God. So I'm like yelling at the TV.
No, that's
as-
what the feeling when you're watching the show. You're like, oh my gosh, are they gonna take the Emperor's ship?
because
Like, oh my gosh, like this is, you feel it. You're like, as she's like revealing, he's like, seriously, this is like the worst day to wing it.
yeah, and she was like, "Well, too late now." And then as soon as she said that, I was like, "Oh my God, are they gonna steal the Emperor's ship? Like that's the only ship they could take right now." God, how cool would that have been? But that would have been like bigger implications or whatever. But I'm yelling at the TV all of these things, and you're just like sitting next to me laughing because as it's going, I'm like, "That's not her sister," and you're like not saying anything to me, and then I'm like, "But how long is it till she gets out of here? Wait, what's going on here? Why does she have that little lunchbox she's carrying around all the time? Like, why is she stealing the straw? Why is she giving that thing is her chicken nuggets?" And you're just like silent the entire time. And then I'm like,
trying to. So like Batcher's with them too. So
Batcher's with them. But then like, okay, let me go back to which I feel like was the biggest reveal of the 3 episodes. The Sarlacc?
So what we were talking about afterwards is I think it's like a mutated Sarlacc.
So a Sarlacc, okay, everybody else chime in. I feel like a Sarlacc, did the Sarlacc, what came first? Was there a Sarlacc that existed and then they mutated
I
a
think so.
Sarlacc? Or did the Empire create a Sarlacc?
No, I think there was a Sarlacc before, and then they tried to make it even more mutated, and it took over.
And so did they have to leave that?
Yeah, they left
had
the-
to
they left
leave the
that
planet
yeah.
because of the Sarlacc.
Yeah.
So then, the Sarlacc that we see in the original trilogy was just like a normal, like a boring Sarlacc.
Yeah.
Okay. No GMO Sarlaccs here. Okay. I don't know, but
And I mean, it could be like a same type of breed, because remember, Tatooine was at one time oceans. It wasn't desert, so it could have been some. It's like it's a humid type of creature type of thing.
are
like
we
a
going to get a
squid type of thing.
Sarlacc spinoff next?
So, but there was that creature, but then there was also that other creature that the other ones were.
Oh, the little like plant babies.
Yeah.
They
Well, not
looked-
the plant ones, because
They looked like little bonsai, like the little like
no, I'm
fat
talking about
booty
that other, like
bonsais
the wolf thing, like
Oh.
the wampa looking thing.
that had the red eyes.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought that was Batcher. And I was like, dang, his hair got long. But I was like, wait, he didn't have hair?
So it was a mix of a Sarlacc and Zillow Beast. So remember, they were talking about the Zillow Beast, trying to get the.
Somebody said, speaking of chicken nuggets, Sarah, I felt your previous review of your Royal Caribbean cruise was severely lacking chicken tendy reviews. Listen, this diet we're on. I did pretty good with the diet on the cruise. Here was the thing. I was terrified to go on this cruise because right beforehand, for the travel agency, we're completely pivoting for a second. I was promoting the cruise. And so I was like, let me pull up fun facts about cruises and like get people excited about cruises. So when we're sharing about it, people are into it. One of the fun facts that I found about cruising was that on average, people gain 1 pound a day on a cruise. And I was like, we have worked how hard over the last 2 months to like make better choices. And now we're getting into like macros and blending every single meat under the sun, it feels like, to get enough protein in. No, we're not doing that. But we are like doing protein shakes and like we're doing all of these things. And I was like, I'm about to go on this cruise and just eat terribly for a week and I'm gonna get a pound and it's a 7-night cruise. Like everything that I've lost, I'm gonna gain back. I was like so terrified. So I think I ate half of a chicken tender and I was like, it was okay. I drank my calories on that cruise ship.
There you go. That's what it is.
I did. And the other thing is, for the Wish, they have different chicken tenders than the other cruise ships. So apparently the other Disney cruises have like the best chicken tenders, but for whatever reason, they do not have those chicken tenders on the Wish.
Wow.
I know.
That is
good news for us. You made Grogu sad.
Okay, so Maestro was... So we've seen Earth Sarlacc and Tatooine, the water Sarlacc, Tantris. But it's not Tantris, it's the other planet. When do we get
Pre-Tantris.
Pre-Tantris, yeah. Air Sarlacc and Fire Sarlacc.
That would be dope. Speaking of which, another side tangent. You said Avatar comes out in 3 days. Well, it's not 3 days.
It's coming out this...
Tell us when it
week?
comes out. Well, the thing is, tell us right now. Does it come out tomorrow or does it come out next Tuesday? Because they just like...
I don't, it's coming...
Those are the days. Do they have
coming.
Mickey Tro waffles? I don't think so. Not on the cruise. Maybe.
Mustafar Sarlacc. Oh.
Could you imagine? It came out today?
Well, there we go. All right, so
End
we gotta
stream.
Go watch, we got to go watch the first episode.
You know what? I think it did because Angry Appa posted...
Okay.
I saw him post about it. Like he was like a behind the scenes photo and I was like, oh my God. One bad diet stretch won't undo all of the weeks of good work y'all are doing. You don't know me. Once I fall off that train, I am off that train.
You don't fall off. You just get off and you stay off.
I roll off of it. No, I did. I indulged on the cruise because the thing was, is like, here's the thing with cruises. You guys are all, half of you are going to see this in a week.
Negative
Don't say
reviews.
that. I think you're talking about the movie.
No.
On a cruise, they give you an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. I was like, it's too much. And the thing was, is they had French onion soup on the Royal Caribbean cruise. It was the best French onion soup. Just like Buena Vista Cafe in San Francisco has the best Irish coffee. Icon of the Seas had the best French onion soup. Oh my! Every night they had it on the menu. I had to get it. And then I ate dinner on top of that. And then I ate a dessert. And then one night I ate 2 desserts. So we've got a lot of trips coming up. Usually I'm like, we're on vacation. We've got a lot of trips coming up. Like, we cannot use that because that's going to be like a week of every month that we're like, we're on vacation. We're on a trip. So we're going to be.
I have the willpower, so.
We're going to be good. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. You have such amazing willpower when it comes to food. You don't even look twice at a carb. You're like, whatever, like, no big deal. You were gone for 2 days. What did the kids and I just like, we went and we don't stop. Like, we do not change the kids' eating habits whenever we're trying to eat healthier. Like, we keep them on what they would eat and we just end up making like another meal for us. I don't know what it was just like because you were not here. Again,
It was girl dinner.
we had girl dinner. We did. And it's not like you. Here's the weird thing too: is like you don't judge. You don't like. Should you really be eating that? Like you're never like that. You are always telling me like, if I'm having a bad day, you're like, just eat whatever you want to eat, man. Like you don't have to do this with me. Like you have never pushed me to do anything. So like it is literally nothing to do with you. But cut to me 4:30 on Monday. Shove with a handful of pepperonis in one hand and a handful of like I just scooped like a Lucky Charms. Like 2 things I haven't eaten in like months, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is like I need this right now. We need to finish those pepperonis because I'm like I can't. It's so they're so delicious, and then the kids are on like a Lucky Charms kick right now too, and they only eat the marshmallows.
I mean, that's the kid way to do it.
I know, but then I eat the cereal because like they eat it on the way to school, and then I'm like, oh look, there's just like a little cup of marshmallow sweetened cereal, and I eat it.
And then let me see. I'm going back to the show. Get my my.
Oh yeah,
comments
sorry.
out. I thought we might have seen Boba in the series, but I think those clone cadets, I think one of them was, if not all of them, were voiced by Daniel Logan. So I think that was our.
Oh, were they all voiced by Daniel Logan?
Well, I have to go look, but I think one of them was at least.
I was curious because I was like, that couldn't have been D. Bradley Baker voicing them.
Yeah,
because it was like a completely different voice.
I think it was all of them, but I think that is our Boba, or close to Boba reference.
I'm okay with that. I don't think there's anything, with the exception of like the Bad Batch getting back.
Okay, so only Mox.
Only Mox. Okay. Oh yeah, weren't you posting about Daniel today? Nino? I feel like you were. Maybe that's why I didn't read your caption. My bad. Sounded, or the other was Julian something. I have nothing from, like, there is nothing that I need from this show except for the Bad Batch get together as like soon as possible. Like I need a reunion, and I would really love a happy ending. But with the way that Project Necromancer is progressing,
so what do you think is in the tube?
Well, you already told me who you think, and so now I think what you think.
Okay. What do you think out there?
What do you think? Who's in the tube? What's in the tube? But here's the thing: how many steps is this Project Necromancer process going to take? Because it seems like first step is finding a specimen that can replicate the same M count. They won't say the word. It's like a bad word, right? The same M count.
No, so they are trying to clone Palpatine.
Yes.
They are trying to clone a Force user.
Yes.
They are trying to clone someone with this M count.
But they're just trying to see, can
this clone blood replicate an exact M count?
Or higher.
But
so really it's just like a host. But then they need somebody with a high
No,
M
no, no,
count.
it's not a host. It's a clone. Like they incubate, it's a clone. But they need to be able to have the right blood, the right formula. And that's why Omega is like, it's pure. She's not a mudblood like the clones. Like she is a pure blood.
Of pure blood.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, so what are they doing? Are they putting like midichlorians into the blood and then seeing if they're copying it? Because then they also need somebody with a high midichlorian count.
It's Palpatine's blood.
But then why do they need Grogu?
Huh? Because they probably want more more M count. They want to juice it.
Well, now I don't know. Now I'm really confused.
Because like they're combining like creature like a Sarlacc and a Zillo Beast. Remember? Because they were trying to get the Zillo Beast skin. Like back a long time ago. It's like that's what they were trying to do is like take things like, oh, you're strong in this. Let me take, like the Bad Batch themselves. Like they are like defective but effective. Like they enhance them. So that's what they're trying to do is like, here's
Did they
Palpatine.
enhance them?
Here's the
Did they enhance them or were they just defective?
they were trying to enhance them, but they were not they ended up being defective
Why were they defective?
because they didn't come out perfect.
Because they didn't. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Because they were too cool.
Yeah. Like, remember the original 99 when he was just kind of like old? Like, I think he
Yeah.
aged faster
Mm-hmm.
and he was just not like a specimen.
Gotcha. TJ, that's my new motto: defective but effective.
So,
Speaking of, I could really do with a hit of sweet, precious, tiny baby Youngus. We toyed around with the idea of dressing up our Grogu at Mos Eisley as Youngus instead. Because we were like, the story
see,
was
Grogu's needed to add force powers to Moff's clones. Yeah. So, see, I think they're trying to like take M count to add it to other stuff. Like Palpatine, I think Project Necromancer is like straight Palpatine, but they still want to be able to combine the like they want to control. They want to.
you may as well be talking about time travel to me because none of this makes
Oh,
sense. Nope.
I mean,
nope.
the world between worlds.
It
That's
is
kind of time
10:30.
travel.
It is time to end the stream. Please do not start talking about time travel. Omega is Rey's mother's milkman's millman. Yeah, none of that makes sense to me. None of the cloning, like,
And I don't think we're gonna get the full, like that's gonna be fully flushed out. Like it's gonna still be just like teasing it.
no, we will not talk about time travel. Please don't get him started on time travel. Yeah, I don't know that we'll know the full story of like you said with the clones, the M count. Why?
Yeah.
And
Because remember in Mandalorian, they still had the in the tanks.
who are
the
those
frozen,
supposed to be?
The frozen Jedi. They're just drawing M count from them. Midichlorians.
And why do we not say midichlorians anymore? Because it got hosed so bad from the prequels.
Hey, but they're still making it. They're talking about M counts.
Now they're just calling it an M count. Like, okay, you could call it something else, but it still is what
exactly. So if you want to
just
get
call
mad
it.
at
Just call it a
midichlorians,
midichlorian.
so
Midichlorian to me sounds cooler than M count.
exactly, Katie. Wibbly
Yeah.
wobbly.
I am smart in some ways, but not when it comes to anything like a time travel or cloning or any like that is.
But see,
My brain does
kind
not
of
work
going
like
on
that.
Justin's Omega, like, isn't Rey a like birth child of a clone?
Her dad is a clone.
I believe so. It's like
Did they confirm that?
I don't think, or yeah,
They confirmed that her dad was a clone of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Technically like Palpatine's
but it's not
son?
it's not a direct clone. It's like a Boba Fett clone, like where it's like it's a child clone.
What does that mean? A strand cast? I don't know what that means. Like I'm over here telling you I don't understand cloning. Don't come at me with strand cast. Justin says he was being half serious. Please define strand cast to me. Shadow of the Sith book explains it. Look, that's like reading a textbook to me then. Unaltered. Strand cast means unaltered? I'm going to say yes. Okay.
So we got to read Shadow of the Sith.
But, okay. No, we can't get into this right now. My brain is too tiny for this. It's too late. No.
Are they going to meet up? That's where we're kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
at.
yeah.
Crosshair and Omega and Batcher are heading out. Wrecker, Hunter, they're going to go drop off the cadets. But they found a location. Are they going to come to this location? And is Hemlock going to capture them? Type of thing.
Oh, no.
And use them as like bait to have them come back.
I don't feel like it would be a very fulfilling season if all of it took place on that base. Is it Tantus? Is that the base? that they're
Tantris?
on? Tantris?
Tantus.
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 Tantus. 2 S's. I feel like Bad Batch was best when it was hopping from planet to planet.
And it could be that they link up and then they're just like on the run from the Empire. But then I don't know how they stop the project, if they're going to stop it or like put some kind of like
If they're telling us that
big damper on it.
if they're telling us that we need these omega sized stash of tissues
That's
by the end of it, and because my thing has always been by the end of the Mandalorian, Grogu's gonna get taken. Like Grogu's gonna die.
I don't think so. No.
So then maybe it's
I
Omega.
disagree.
Oh, maybe Omega is the sacrifice. There's going to be a major sacrifice. I feel it.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Unaltered is the opposite of Strandcast. What does that mean? Oh no. Y'all, I can't keep up with it. Mayor's here. Mayor's in Orlando right now.
Oh,
For another run. Are you ever going to do a Run Disney race?
maybe. I need to do one of those.
I think that would be really cool. I could
Strandcast can be made from a mix of different sources, compounded with the host. It's a type of cloning, but it's what made Snoke. See, that's who I thought was in the
tube.
the tube.
Meredith says run with me. I think she's talking to you. I don't think she's talking to me. I will gladly cheer you guys on. I will wake up as early as you need me to be out there and cheer you on in the cold.
Okay, we're gonna go on one little tangent before we sign off.
Okay.
Because we're talking about running. In my head, do you remember watching Little Giants? It was the football movie with Rick Moranis, and it was like the ragtag crew, the Little Giants, and then Ed O'Neill, and he had the Cowboys, and they were like with Spike.
Wait, maybe. Okay, yeah.
I watched it a lot.
Vaguely.
So the center was like this chunky kid.
Where are you going with it?
And when he would run, it was like a wheezing.
Oh no.
And so whenever I run, I don't wheeze, but I always think of like when I'm, sucking wind, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be that kid. Like, like it was like a super wheeze. And so whenever I'm thinking like I'm running long distance, I don't want to ever,
like run in a
sound
race and like be that guy. I bet there's lots of people like that.
So, sorry, that's what popped in my head.
No, that's fair. It's like you don't want to be an ugly crier. You don't want to be a wheezy runner.
Yeah. Or the soft smile at your wedding. So with that,
I think we're done. We've got into some
we
weird.
talked about some
I've got homework.
a little bit of Bad Batch reviews. We stepped into that realm. We talked about the premiere. Talked about our upcoming cruise.
Let me just say, I am still like just over the moon happy that you got to go experience this. Like truly, it was one of those things where it was like it was one of those things where it was cool if we could have done it together, but like truly more than anything, I'm just like, dude, go live that life. Go have the best time. And like just watching you live it and like the little bit of like updates that I did get from you, it was just like it made me so happy. I'm so happy you got to do this.
Yeah. So it was thank you. It was exciting. So but thank you. Let me go over here. Thank you everybody for showing up, hanging out on both streams.
Yeah, over on
or
Instagram, on YouTube. Who knows how long we'll be able to do this on Instagram because we're getting some pop-ups that are like
But until next week.
Yeah.
See you
Until
guys
the
then.
cruise. We'll see some of you guys
Yeah.
in a week. So thank you. Until next time.